Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our class. This is week number 5, and I call this the last week because we have today's class and we have the next class because I have to teach it, and it's only uh, a week and 2 days left. That's enough time for any student to pull up their grade. Carly, welcome to class, and Amy, of course. I said hello already, but anyway, there's enough time for you to do well, and really it comes down to those that watch the class and those that don't. Those that are watching the class, they are passing. There are people that watch the class and they just don't get it. And my advice, and this kind of tells me that you've watched the class, and say, listen, Mark, I watched the class, but I'm missing something. And that's okay, and I understand. And even if you're not watching the class, which those that aren't watching the class are not watching this anyway, so I don't know what to say, you got to reach out for help. I do get a little frustrated. I'm being quite honest with you because I'm human. Is those that don't watch the class kind of really want me to or expect me to reteach it to them. And that's not really fair to me. I mean, I do have a life and it's your responsibility. It's just called college. It's just called responsibility. And in the workplace, that's how it would go. I'm not scolding anyone, but it's a difference between doing something and not. And I don't know what to say, and I don't know really what to do because it's just really a matter of that. And I'm sorry that this is the first time that you're ever seeing APA, and this is the first time that you're seeing the library or the online library. Or it's not really that this has been the first time, because I know your other professors do bring it up. It's just they don't enforce it. And I do have a problem with that, but that's something that I have to do on a collegiate level. But it's not hard. If you know how to go to if you know how to go to Google, you know how to go to the online library. Putting it together may be something a little bit different. But I still have students that talking about their target market, they're 18 to 31. We talked about this. I still see Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook without any support for business to business. And we've gone over it every single class. And so, again, those that watch this class that are doing incredible, I'm sorry that you're having to have to hear this over again. But it always goes down to those that just really aren't paying attention. And that's a shame. It really is a shame because I've read most of all your works, and I don't think there's really a student in here that can't pass this class if they don't choose to. Okay, I even had a student that said, Mark, there's some great stuff on the internet. It's not fair for you to make us go to the online library. Well, we'll agree to disagree, but you got to do it. Okay, you got to do it, because what's the difference between, and that same student didn't use any resources. So what am I to do? But in that same breath is you just got to do it to pass the class and learn how to do it. Again, that's why I would think is that you're here. And that's what you paid for. This is a accredited university. That means that this diploma means something. And there are diploma mills out there where you just can buy a diploma. I don't know how much they cost today, but that's not this type of school. And my job is to make you think. It's make you think beyond how your comfort zone, because when you're in the workplace, I would feel real bad that you lost your job because you don't know any of this. And bosses and managers want thinkers. They want people with solutions. They don't want to hear about your problems. They want to hear about your solution. That you can say that this is a problem, but this is what I found to resolve it. And that's how you get promoted. If you want an entry-level job and that's all you ever want, and I'm not saying that, I want to frame this correctly, because I've had instructors say, Mark, this is what terrible. And I actually sold the idea and made money off of it. So I don't want any student to ever think that way, because it was presented to me like that. And so I'm very careful with my wording. Is you could be anything and everything you ever want to be, but knowledge is worth money. And that's why I think you're here. A lot of students in today's class, you have jobs and you want to get promoted and so forth. And it's the knowledge that you already have. I am not crediting myself with the knowledge that you have, because you have experiences, you studied, you are experts in what it is you do. I am just making the chemistry move in your brain more to be able to expand on it. That's all that I am doing. And I would think that all of your classes are. And that making you think is the value that you get more money and you get promotions and so forth. In my opinion, college takes 4 years or 4 year degree, whatever it may be. It takes you 2.5, takes you 4 years to do, and shrink it all down of a lifetime of a career so that you could propel to the next level. And that's what I want you to do. And that's what these assignments are. The assignment was purposely weird so that you would expand your mind. It is business to business, which some of you may do, but all the practices of marketing is behind it as well. And so this business to business of a textiles company, which is not something a lot of people have experience in. I just happen to own a furniture company, which I had sold during the pandemic, that we reupholstered and we finished hotel furniture. So it just happened to be a coincidence that I did it. But I've had 2 students from Rasmussen, your own peers. They sold T-shirts. And one sold, and I wanted to interview her, and we had a conference and so forth. And I said, oh, shoot, I should have recorded this to share it with you, your own peers from your own school. She sold murder shirts. Let me explain. If you don't know, but there is a real craze about murder shows out there. I call it the Murder Channel, Discovery ID, the Crime Channel CI, and there's even a deeper following of those murder blogs. And I guess that's where those shows come from. Murder in My Building. And I've seen a few of them. I like Murder in the Building. It's funny, but they're called murder moms. And I guess they're on Facebook. They're on these chats. There are these blogs. And I was curious, so I read more. And some help solve murders. There was that one show on HBO, and it's Don't F with Cats. It's a foul word. I don't want to hear an email to the dean saying Mark's saying bad words, but that's what it's really called it's on Netflix. And it was solved by these murder moms. It was a detective and an individual, and that's a story in itself. But she found a niche to sell T-shirts to these murder moms, and she's making a living out of it. And she came from Rasmussen just a few years earlier than this. So it wasn't our project that motivated her to do it. She was already doing it, but she expanded on it. And so can you. And you can do whatever it is you want. There's no age limit, nothing. Your experience is prize. We're just broadening it. And you'll notice once you get a job, you kind of get stuck in this way and you're doing things. And that's what, if you're a career student and with a job, that's kind of what you just get stuck in that rut. Our job is to expand it. And I know you're busy. You have busy lives. You want your diploma. You want to be in and out. So it gets frustrating. And the more frustrated you get with me, is it because you're just frustrated with it? Or am I pushing you and pushing you and pushing you? That's my job. So when you write to me and say, Mark, you made me go to the library, it's not because I'm not getting excited about it because I feel that I'm torturing you, because I had a student email me about that, said that I'm torturing students because I have nothing better to do. That's not the fact. It isn't at all. But it's that I know that my crazy teaching tactics are making you go beyond your comfort. And hopefully, and that's my goal, and this is what gets me excited, is that you'll get a position and that I've already pushed you hard enough. And it may not be anything that we're talking about in our class, but you don't stress out to the point that you quit. I hope that makes sense to someone. That I've part of you and you grow is you'll be getting positions and jobs that pay very, very well. And all they are one big headache, not because of the job itself, but because you're learning. At first, you'll be learning and learning and learning. And it's your ability to deal with all that stress that this this rubber band that I kept on stretching for this entire 5.5 weeks, stretched it far enough that when you get the position, your dream job, the reason why you're even here at this school is that when that rubber band stretches, and this is called your stress levels, that it doesn't break. And then you prevail. And so that's what I get excited about, that I like to hear about your successes. I have students who will find me on Indeed and so forth, and they tell me about the great things that they've done. And that's what really excites me. And you'll forget my name, and you'll say, oh, this crazy marketing professor that made me go to the online library and he hated it. But this is what it did for me. And you may not see it now, and you may just think that I'm excited about pushing you too hard, or that maybe I didn't achieve the goals that I wanted in my own life, so I'm here to torture you. That's not true. I'm pretty happy with my life. I teach because I really do enjoy it. I'm a career professor. I love my job, and I love that I'm giving you different experiences. And that's why I stay here. And that's why I grade your papers multiple times. And, but I want to thank everyone because you do help me. You do help keep me young and keep me modern in terms of my thinking. That, yeah, I've opened up to social media, which is not one of my favorites. Anyway, that's my rant now. Your keyword, go ahead and write this down, because students just kind of search for it, and they spend more time searching for the keyword than actually listening to the class. And what can I do? The keyword is, we're almost done. I can still pass this class if I not already have a great grade. I know Amy wrote it down verbatim, but the word is, hey, maybe you could do it in transcripts. Did anyone figure that one out? Is that you just read the transcripts until you come up with my keyword? Anyway, the keyword today is, we are almost done. I can still bring up my grade, or I'm already passing the class. Whatever you want to do, write it down. Is that Amy? Did I get it right the second time? Write down, we are almost done. I can still bring up my grade, or I already have the grade I want. Okay, something to that effect. So let's go ahead and I did go through some of the assignments. Let me see, let me bring this down. If you want me to really kind of go over them, because for the most part, you either did well or you didn't. And pretty much I feel was a matter of whether the real question is, did you watch the class or not? Those who watched the class really had no problems, and they did well. If you didn't watch the class, what am I to do? Okay, because I push so much. And then I have students that are passing, and they get frustrated because they say, Mark says the same thing over and over again. Well, you're right, I do. And it's because I care for everyone. And those that are doing well, I know you're picking up tidbits just to make you better. So let me see. I forgot where I put my works that I had looked at. Um, I had some really good ones that I really did think that were great in terms of the rebranding. And nothing has changed. Okay, nothing has changed. I still have two students that I don't know what they're doing. They picked a company, and if I'm talking about you, please reach out to me, because I really don't know what it is you're doing. And I did say in the grading of each week, this will catch up with you, and it may have caught up with these two students, because I don't know really where they are with the understanding of the assignment, because it's still the same thing. It's still, you are a consultant, you are selling textiles, business to business, and they're re-imaging themselves something. And I've said this to, I think, in the live classes, and if you've called me, I kind of present it like this. I'm an old man that owns a textile company. I already make millions of dollars. You're coming to me to change how I've done my business. First, people don't like to hear your great advice, do they? So that's something to consider in terms of your presentation. And second, I'm already worth millions of dollars. So why should I change my way of thinking? And it's your job to convince me. Rich people like to make more money. And you have to present it in a way that I say, okay, yes, if I go online, it will make me more money. That's all. That's your entire assignment, is you know who your customer is. The customer is another company, business to business. And they're going to take your textiles and make something with it. They may make t-shirts. You do not make t-shirts. You do not sell to Sally that has 3 children. I care that Sally's buying the t-shirts to give to her 3 kids, but I'm really not overly, it doesn't make a difference to me because we're a derived demand company. And I don't think I've used that word in our class. What derived demand means, and that's for the most part business to business, is we are reliant on others to buy from others that will buy from me. Let me explain. Let's say that I owned a lumber company, okay? I do care that people are buying more houses because if people buy more new houses, they need more lumber. If people buy less new houses, they'll buy less new lumber. Don't overthink this. Keep it very simple. That means derived demand. Because of someone else, someone creates a demand that buys from me. We're aware of that other demand, but that's not my key customer. Like I said, I still have people that are writing down my target market and my customer. They watch the video, so I think that they've watched the class because they put it in big letters. My customer is 13 years to 29. Well, no, they're not. Okay. They're in kind of that range, but they probably graduated from school. They're buyers. That's the buying process of, let's say, a fabric for a very large company would be there's a department that's all they do is they source it. You need to go find where they source it and how you can communicate to them. And that's what really matters. Keep it simple, business to business. Once it's not clear, then your paper goes astray. And then I know that it's not clear because you start using vague words like my target market, target market, target market, target market, target market, target market. But you don't tell me who it is. The target market loves social media, social media, social media, social media. Well, I don't know. You probably don't know who the target is, and you really don't know what social channel you're going to use. I'm not dumb. I know you're struggling because you haven't defined it. And once you define it clearly, it makes it so much easier. And that's true for all marketing classes. And in principles of marketing, I say the same exact thing, but now we're doing business to consumer. Who is your customer? It always goes to that. Who is your target market? And everything else about your paper revolves around that. In our case, nothing has changed. I think it's going to change week 6, but nothing has really changed. You're still business to business. And the buying process hasn't changed. Keep it simple. So I want to just look at this one, and it's all good things that they have done. But this is kind of what it is that I was looking for. Just like I've done the entire term, I told you all how I grade your assignments. I taught you how to cheat in my class because I'm aware of it. And I don't want to catch any student cheating or doing anything because they think they're being clever. And I show you exactly what I'm looking for. Find your instructor's quirks. Mine is the research from the online library and proper APA. That's it. You can have terrible grammar as long as I understand it. I have to understand what it is you're saying. But download Grammarly. I've been saying Grammarly for 5 weeks and I still students that don't. What am I to do? It's free. I downloaded it because I want my grammar to be perfect. And so I'm in the same boat as other students. And so I'm empathetic to it. But there's a solution. What can I do? Okay, anyway. So I counted the slides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. There's 8. So I know 9. And then here's the references. There's 1, 2, 3. Excellent. They're here. And then I look to see if there's the internal citation. And there they are. So those are the basic things. And I shouldn't be the APA police. And I shouldn't be your online library police either, but it just has to be done. Otherwise, students wouldn't do it. Now, this student did it a little bit different. She did have a company name. It's called Grabbit Fabrics. And maybe it made it easier for the student. And again, I'm using an example, and any criticism is positive criticism. But this was an excellent paper. I did like it. But I mean, I think that when students see that, the other students, they just pick some fictitious company, or they find another company as an example, and I don't really know who they are. And you got to explain why you chose that. Is it because, not the Grabbit Fabric, but I'm talking to those two other students, because they actually used another company and they kind of made up numbers. They made the assignment 10 times harder than they needed to. And I know those students do not watch this class because I've mentioned it repeatedly. Okay, so I don't know if they'll watch it today, but it would help them greatly just to reach out to me and talk to me about it. Anyway, what can I do? Anyway, so here is the value of business branding, current approach, revised approach, social media, and fresh start. I have still students that ask me about speaker's notes. These are the speaker notes, okay? Anyway, what is a good brand? Here's a definition of a good brand. It works out well. I was looking for a little bit stronger of what is a good brand to a business to business. This student's actually selling to other clothing designers. So these clothing designers manufacture clothes, and she chose clothing designers. It's clear. So everything about it is around this target market, and the target market again would be the buying department. And if you ever watch The Devil Wears Prada or any of them, you'll see the buying department of clothing designers. It's very, very defined in how they do their business, their shows, their marketing effort. And your job, because you are not a clothing designer, you're manufacturing a fabric that sells to them. You need to find that buying department and communicate to them and get them to buy more of your fabrics. Here's the current approach, use the domain, the culture, so forth. And then she went right into it. Now, I guess Blackboard here is quoting something from a reference onto the learning portal. Well, and this has come up with other students before. There is a wealth of knowledge. And now I've actually had a student use my grading rubric as a reference. I don't know where that came from. Oh, okay, this is what I think it is because this is part of the assignment, the domain, culture, ideals, asset, character, and impressions, and they're getting that from the assignment. Okay, if that's true, that wasn't necessary because this is your assignment. You don't have to reference the assignment part. But if you're talking about the domain, culture, ideals, asset, character, impressions, this kind of came from the assignment. You don't need to quote it because it's already understood. But the support about it needs to be cited. Now, in this case, it's really just fact. So the student wrote about that, perfectly great. And then here's the revised approach. And so here's business to business. She's calling it textiles, fabrics. It's fine. If this was business to business, you'd really have to give me more support and why that would work. But I mean, I'm not a buyer, so I'm not the target market, but I didn't take any points off for it. It's cute. I understand what they're trying to say. Okay, so here's their revised approach. There's continued trade shows. She's right. She has to go to trade shows to find those clothing designers. She's absolutely right, but she's going to use the internet to do this. And there is a network now on the internet. Oh, look at this. Grammarly would have found it for her. Anyway, enough. I'll leave it alone. Anyway, revised. We're looking at the strength of information of websites. Excellent. Okay, of the fresh approach. Here's the revision. Remember, I'm an old person that's already making a lot of money. She's proving to me why this is more effective, why things have actually changed. Okay, social media channels. And what does she say? She says social media has become an optimal tool for branding. The student's probably right. Make sure, and this is what a lot of students do, is this for business to business, or what about business to consumer? And it may be true for both, but this was an A paper. Okay, a geographical scope, but is widened with our potential consumer basis. This is all right. It's correct. Grab it, Fabric, utilize LinkedIn to expand our social media presence by branding of strategy and network potential. I know the students watching the video because all I am obsessed with is LinkedIn for business to business. Okay, so it does that. And then here is your support, your presence of sharing information. Remember that I said prove it, and student did. Trust, engagement, brand loyalty. These are all positive responses that achieve by influencing attitudes and behaviors. And she is right in a business to business market. That's what I'm looking for. Keep it simple. Then a fresh start. We all stand together, promote our company brand ideas, invest into our future. We can't lose. I agree. It's a little corny, but it gets the fact. Okay. She got my ear. This is worth $350,000 a year right out of college. Okay. Excellent, excellent work. It's exactly what it is that I'm looking for. Okay. And so excellent. There's the references, and then she's done. Simple. Keep it simple. Little bit different because she did give the company name. Giving something a name makes things a little bit easier. The two other students, they took another company. A company was already given to you. Okay. And I make grading notes all the time. Nothing gets more frustrated when a student asks me, I have questions about my grade. Why did I get this grade? Well, if you drop down in each grading section, I kind of write about it. And I'll write back up at the top. Students aren't reading there or not watching the class because they didn't know to go there. And it does frustrate me. Remember, I am human. I have a life outside of here. I know you don't believe that. Okay, anyway, here's another one. Counted it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here's the references here. There's 3 references from the online library. And again, here's Blackboard. And I think it probably has to do with the assignment more. But if it's an assignment, you don't have to give it because I already know that it's there. The question is, sometimes students will say, well, Mark, why won't you let us use a textbook as a reference? You can use a textbook as a reference. The problem is we don't have any textbooks that sell fabrics. So wherever you got your textbook, it's not specific to our assignment. And that's where it blurs. You may get something that you've learned in terms of marketing. I understand that and may support your idea, but it's very general. All textbooks are very general. It's just the subject of marketing. This is the subject of online marketing. It's all good. And our articles get more specific, but nothing's on business to business fabric sells. And remember, you are to get a resource that actually proves your idea. So here it is, value of brands, undeniable. Here's the resource of brand memory. I agree with all this, but is this support, again, for business to business? And a lot of your articles, you'll say, oh gosh, this is a great quote, and it may be, but was the intention of the author business to business or business to consumer? Oh, look at all these greens and blues and purples. Grammarly would help. 16 of them. Anyway, download Grammarly. I'm not picking on the student, nothing there. I would probably have the same problem personally, but I gave you a solution. Okay. Anyway, right here is textile marketing, clothing companies. Part of the reason why I stay at Rasmussen is because I get free Grammarly. Grammar is not one of my favorites. Me personally, I've taken a lot of grammar courses. I've taken a lot of revision. Remember, I'm a lot older than you, so we didn't have Grammarly, and so you kind of were forced to do it. And either you were literate or you were not, and you could not text someone a message. Some of the text messages or emails that I get from students, completely non-acceptable. I just got in trouble with one of my customers. They said that I was too turt with them, meaning that I was too abrupt in my email. And it was just because I was really busy. I responded back to them, and they just didn't like my response. And so they said, and he wrote me another email continuing with how inappropriate I am with my emails. So that happens professionally. He didn't like how I didn't give him what he wanted. But anyway, so the brand domain, the target market, how it competes in terms of its brands, specific target. There it is. I was getting a little worried. Clothing companies and clothing designers. So he actually has 2 different targets, and how you would study them a little bit different because they have a little bit different of needs, but I bet you the buying process may be the same. Here's a little bit of the history. This is coming from the resource itself. Brand ideal, core characteristics such as price, efficiency. I agree with all that. And I believe because the word efficiency, it may have come from a business to business as a quote. But I hope that everyone understands what I'm saying because I can see and I know it's the same assignment I give over and over again. So the personality of a brand, be careful. Business to business, they do have personalities. They may be a little bit different than the business to consumer, but then they're going back into the company itself. Okay. Here, impressions of the company, reputation, news on the company. These can all be done very easily online in terms of its reputation as well. Okay. LinkedIn attract clothing designers, and here it is, business to business has 93% adopted a rate of style of the company. That's interesting, an interesting point behind the value of social media. Okay, LinkedIn provides groups and allows companies to foster relationships. So everyone should be going to this resource right here and write this down because this is excellent stuff. Watch the grammar because there's 22 issues here. Grammarly would have found all this. But anyway, I'm not picking on that. That did not affect their grade at all. Okay, our target market is currently clothing designers. Oh, there. And actually, what's really neat is it does it for you. It not only fixes it, you just hit the button and it does it. But through my experience, because I become sometimes too reliant on Grammarly, is that it takes a sentence and it gets it out of kind of context of what it is we're saying. But there is missing some letters. This is a perfect example to show you the value behind Grammarly, and you get it for free. Okay. Small little things, spelling errors and so forth. When I went to school, she gave you an F just for a spelling error. Okay. And I don't know if that's a good thing or if it was a bad thing. I didn't like the instructor. I took actually, it was business communication, written writing. And I had a real hard time with it. I really did. And it was the paper had to be perfect. The margins were perfect and everything was perfect about it. You think I'm tough. All I want you to do is go to the online library and get me APA style that looks half right. Hers was she had the grammar book out and she was catching things and it was a mess. But anyway, I did pass it. But is that a good thing? Is someone's ability to be able to communicate? How important is it? Students they email me in text form. I'll get a text message that says, hey, who? I'm not your friend. I'm your professor. Okay. And so, and that just comes because you're used to it. That's how you communicate to people. And actually, that's probably why I sent out an abrupt email was because I'm so used to texting people that I just kind of responded back to it. Because sometimes when we're signing back and forth through email, I kind of lose that email-ishness, if that makes any sense. And it becomes almost a text message, kind of. And yeah, I guess that's wrong. But anyway, you could see all this. Excellent. The consumer values, they can reach at least 17,000 followers. That sounds quite reasonable instead of your 850 million. Okay, anyway, and why I said that 850 million is people still right. Social media gets me 850 million people. Well, that's lovely, but are all 850 million people going to actually buy your product? Hey, the student did something. Facebook is a growing platform for business to business. They actually did the research, an adoption rate of 80% of a study that had been done. Okay, and that potential customers doesn't feel that it's so aggressive in terms of its marketing approach. A manufacturer's upholstery company, clothing stores, Facebook fans can engage in the company and messages. They did the research. I probably read the same article. Okay, word of mouth stylings and so forth. All really, really good stuff. That's what I was looking for. Okay, I don't care what source you write, but I want support that proves that it actually worked. I'm not one of those professors. I could disagree with you. You still get an A if it's supported. I could agree with you and it's not supported. I'll still give you an F. Okay. So there's the research. This is exactly what I was looking for in terms of social media. You want to write, and I bet you they have very similar research in Twitter and so forth. TikTok, I know, is having some issues. On TikTok's own website, they admit that they're trying to find a way to make it more profitable in terms of its business-to-business marketing. They say it themselves, okay? But I'll still have TikTok is the best way to sell our product. Okay. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's go through our assignments and let's call it a day. Anyway, let's look at what module 5 is, and I think you should really all, or this is my advice, go through 5 and 6 and complete them both together, because it's really hard to crunch everything in those 2 days for number 6. Just get it all done. It's not that hard. And so here, the overview for 5, what we're going to be doing here today is explain the role of online media channels to generate leads, identify ways to increase online sales with online media marketing, and understand the values of conversion optimization. Conversion is very, very important. How do you take someone that views to convert them into a buyer? Marketing's all about calls to action. What is your call to action? Buy a product, register a voter, get a donation. That's the call to action. The rules of marketing all are the same. It's who our customer is different from this course and the other from Principles of Marketing. And also this is using a different channel as well. 22 hours is expected of work from you, okay? And discussions, 3 hours worth of work, okay? 3 hours. I still have students that are putting down a sentence. I will not give you a grade for that. Okay, I still have students that are not doing APA. You should be doing API for everything, and it just should be automatic. Okay, and I know you know how to do it because I see it in your papers. So where it goes on your discussions, I have no clue. I showed you Scribr. Scribr is an excellent resource for you to be able to use to be able to cite for your discussions, and it's done for you. It's done for you. So I don't know. Anyway. I think it's easier because it's done for you than the way you used to do it. But who knows? Okay, written assignment, 6 hours for doing your live stuff, and you're supposed to be spending an hour in our live class. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at your assignments. Right over here, you are still a newly hired consultant for a textile company that focuses on business sales. The textile company sells millions of dollars products in the United States and Canada and Europe, but until recently has been family run, tends to be rather old-fashioned approach marketing. The company has an informational website, but no other resource. Because the company is rather old-fashioned in its approach to sales, they've not considered the potential value of social media. Be very, very careful here. Students will go nuts. All of a sudden, I'll see Twitters and I'll see Instagrams and I'll see Snapchat. I have no clue how to use Snapchat. And honestly, the only thing that I could think of is great about Snapchat is it's a great place to have a bunch of pictures. And you can have a picture of all your works as testimonials and that you join all these groups. I cannot figure out how to use Snapchat. I think it's a total waste of time. But the value behind it, okay? So be very careful. And again, I'm talking to students that aren't even watching this class anyway. So they're going to go right in with TikTok is the greatest way to go to business. Anyway, you are to write a 2 to 3 page paper, not 1.5, not 1 1/4. I don't care if it is a 1 and you missed, you have 3 sentences, 3 words on the last sentence. That means that much left on your paper. I will mark it as 1 page, and that means 50%. 2 to 3 whole pages. Can't believe I'm still saying this. Okay, and of course to support your ideas. Always, as I've told all of you to do, is here's your grading rubric. These are each section, and this is what I'm actually looking for your paper. Okay, I actually, when I grade your paper, first thing I do is go down to the very bottom. These two should be perfect scores, 10-10, and you're done. And then I can actually go through it. Okay. At this point, I've gone through it enough. So let's go ahead, and that takes care of week number 5. Let's go ahead and start week number 6. And again, turn it in early, tackle it, just be done with it. And so let's go ahead, and for week number 6, it's called technology. So the overview here today is Identify online marketing technologies. Analyze the way of online marketing technologies used for the target customer. Know who the target is. Always is about the target market. Okay. Online marketing technologies, targeting of consumers. Again, you still have the discussions. Everything is due on Tuesday night. I will start grading it on Wednesday. And grades are due right then. And so students are starting to come up with their issues. Remember I said I'd have 2 of them that came up with some traumatic issues? We have 3 of them already, okay? I do not know of a class, we only have 15 students right now, how so much tragedy happens in lives. And things do happen, and those that do have some personal issues, I'm sorry, but it's because so many students have taken advantage of that. And so now it's not a matter of, I always give students the benefit of the doubt, but I've said how to be able to deal with it. Be proactive. You see a snowstorm coming, be proactive, get your assignments in, because you don't know, the electric may go out. Okay, and that's how I looked at it. And so anyway, here's your written assignment and the live class. We'll still have one next Tuesday to wrap it up and finish it. Anyway, here is our paper. And in this paper, it's a light paper. So we are going to be writing a 2-page executive summary, 2 whole pages. Okay, that's an error. That should be 3. And then again, here's your grading rubric. And then you're done. Okay, there's still time to catch up. If you have any questions, this is the time to do it. Be proactive. I will have students on Tuesday ask me, Mark, how do I bring up your grade? Not Tuesday today, next Tuesday. Well, it's a little too late. Okay, so you know your keyword. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, text me, whatever, and I'll see you in the discussions. Have a great week. I'll turn this off and I'll answer questions, but let me stop recording.